to 1959 with the Met Council on Housing, but scarily close to it in the history of the world. And yes, it is wonderful that you're doing awards in honor of women fighters, and that I am proud to be here to give an award to one of those women fighters. Because there are lots of lessons from history that we need to pull back up and remind ourselves about. I'm not sure as an elected official I'm going to join the riot baseball bat. I've heard nothing, I know nothing. But I do know that we're living in an era where whatever skills you've been using, you've honed over your lifetime to fight back, to say, not here in New York City as much as possible, to very scary things that I think most of us are having nightmares about every night that could be coming from Washington very, very shortly. And you thought it was just really bad in Albany. I thought it was just really bad in Albany. And ever since the election I've been going, I just can't get a sweat up about my colleagues in the crap they're pulling in Albany. Because every 5 minutes you read something else coming out of the transition team of the Trumpeters, Trumpets, whatever the Trumpsters. I don't know, we have to come up with a more clever hashtag than that.
Trumpeteers?
Trumpeteers? No, that makes it sound cheery. There's nothing cheery. The Trump fascists. The what?
Los pendejones.
But the truth is, we're going to be in for some tough times. And some of us are old enough to remember that we've lived through some tough times. We've lived through some real fights at every level of government. And we will get through this one also. And hopefully with people like all of you here and the commitment of the volunteers and staff in Met Council, and every person I know here has in some way played a role with Met Council over the years, we will help try to make sure that New Yorkers are not losing their homes while we're fighting the bigger fights at the national and the state level. But I am delighted to have been asked to be the introducer for your next amazing awardee, Edline Jacquet, who I got to know when she came to work with my staff in the New York State Senate, when she was already doing housing work for Lenox Hill Neighborhood House. I think we stole you. Would that be a appropriate thing to say? Anyone here from Lenox Hill? Too bad, we stole her. But then she did phenomenal work with my office on housing and homelessness and social services, developed, I think we can say now, lifetime friendships with myself and other members of the staff. Sarah Halstern is here somewhere, and she has been running, actually now the district office, but my housing work as well from the very beginning, and she and Edline used to sit side by side, figuring out how we were going to stop the next person from losing their home. And then she moved on to the Supportive Housing Network, where many of you know her from, where anyone who's ever worked with Edline in any capacity, or oh, there you are, Sarah, you moved around. I knew you were there. Anybody who's ever worked with Edline in any capacity knows that she has a true and deep commitment to understanding, one, the importance of a safe, secure home for anyone, because if you don't have a safe, secure home, nothing else is going to get done. Two, she has a real commitment to humans and not forgetting who humans are, and that when you are working on an issue or a fight, that at the bottom line you are working on behalf of the people and the person who might be your client at that moment. I think that also Edline's entire history in life with her family has been that of recognizing that New York and the greatness of New York is because of the diversity and new Americans and coming from every part of the world to live together 99% of the time in peace with each other, and working to make not just a better city and a better country. I will tell one very funny, sad story. When Edline was working for me and I was up in the state senate, and at the time there was a Republican senator from Rockland County, and his name was Tom Morahan. And he actually asked me on the floor of the Senate, pointing to the Democrats, because there are actually no members of color in the Republican conference, are any of those people Haitian? Says Tom. I said, no, there are no Haitian American elected officials in the Senate. There weren't in the Assembly at the time either. And he said, it turns out I have Haitians in my district in Rockland County. And I said, oh, that's interesting. He says, what are they? He said, people came from Haiti. He says, they speak French. I said, no, they speak Creole, which is a combination of French and African dialect. And where is Haiti? It's in the Caribbean, it's the same island. And he goes, but those people speak Spanish. And slaves were brought by the French to the other side of the island. Hence, right? African, French, African American, right? Caribbean American, history of slavery, came to New York. I didn't realize there were so many in Rockland County. There's lots in New York City. I said, I have a staff person named Edline Jacquet. She's very knowledgeable about the Haitian American community. And he said, this was the best part, he said, well, do you think she'll come and work for me in my next campaign? So, say, I came on and told Edline the story. She said, I would like to go volunteer whoever's running against me. The Senate Republican said to me, Liz, how do you know so much? How can you know so much? But because of people like Edline Jacquet, and because of the people here at the Met Council, and the Janes, as many steps as we go backwards, we will ultimately always go forward in this country. And so I am honored to be able to give you this award tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz, so much for coming. I so appreciate. It's such an honor to be for you to be the one presenting to me. So I really, really appreciate it. And I also just want to thank my wonderful friends and my family who came, my wonderful husband Mario, and my very active daughter, and my sister, and just like, you know, all of my colleagues in the network came. I so appreciate you guys. And my friends, like my really close friends like Tamara and Jenny, thank you guys so much. And I really want to, it's just like what Graham was saying, and I'm so honored to be like, also being presented this award along with great people, great activists and advocates like Graham and Jaron. So that's amazing because I feel like we are part of, you know, this generation's activists. We are trying to be the new Janes, you know? And it really is an honor to be even in the same breath of someone like Jane Benedict, who was such a great union organizer, so involved in the tenant movement, and to know that, you know, hopefully carrying on a part of that tradition. And I love Met Council. You know, I've been on the board for about 7 years or so, and it's really been such a journey. We're really a small grassroots radical progressive organization devoted to social justice, and that's what housing is about and housing stability is about. And for me, and I think everybody here agrees that housing is a human right. It's a fundamental tenet. And like Liz said, you can't really do anything else if you don't have a home. And I think that's part of the reason why housing has been such a passion for me for my whole career. And now working at the network and focusing on the needs of homeless New Yorkers and those who are most marginalized has been so, it's just been such a not only gratifying but edifying experience knowing that I'm part of this amazing movement in terms of this is another realm of the housing movement that is really dedicated to, you know, vulnerable people. And I just am so grateful to everyone here. I'm grateful to all of the wonderful volunteers of Met Council, all of the great staff, to Ava, and to Andrea and Nova. Like, their work is amazing. And like I said, it's been, like Liz said, we're facing dark times and a challenging time, but this is exactly when we fight the hardest, and we all have to come together. And I think being part of this larger social justice movement is so critical, and that's why organizations like Met Council are essential, and especially in this time. And, for me, I really want to leave a better world for my daughter. I think that that's part of the reason I'm here, and that, we all need to continue to work together. And I just am so grateful for this. I was telling Ava yesterday, it really is such an honor to be here. And I want to thank all of you guys for coming out on this bitterly cold night. We so appreciate your dedication and loyalty and support for this amazing social justice organization. And I just want to thank you guys so much. And I hope that we all continue, like Kenny said, to fight. Thank you.